Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the last webinar for today, the third day of Grow and Aspire, featuring RHB on building a career in data science and analytics. I'm Dania from Singradwan, and with me today we have our speaker, Nick Pan Chong Min, a senior data scientist for Group of Analytics of RHB. With 13 years of professional working experience in data analysis, statistics, and modeling, today, Nick will be sharing the skills needed and the career path as a data scientist or data analytics and many more. So make sure to keep watching and do share your questions in the chat box as Nick will be answering all your questions live during this session. So without further ado, I will now pass the floor to Nick.
Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. So let me share my screen. Okay, so we'll be talking about career building in data science. So I'm Nick, I'm senior data scientist. So here are the agendas that I will cover today. We'll talk about some brief introduction about myself again. We'll talk about data science in financial institutions. Then we'll talk about the main things that like building a career in data science and analytics. Then I'll close and do a Q&A session. So going next. So this is about me. Sorry, am I born in 1986? Yes, I'm that old. I am currently 100% Malaysian. Currently working, previously I was working in Western Digital in 2009 until 2019. So I joined RHB in 2019 and I'm still here. I love to cook. Thanks to COVID, I have ample amount of time to cook, right? And also I game a lot. So at the bottom left, this is a picture of me with a slightly longer hair. So lesson learned to everyone, do not get your hair cut 2 days before important events such as this, because your hairstyle might mess it up, right? So let's go next to the next slide. So what is data science? Right, data science is, according to Wikipedia, is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific knowledge, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from noisy, structured, and unstructured data and apply it to actionable insights and from data across a broad range of application domain. That is a very long sentence, but let's hear data science from my view instead, right? People often confuse data science as something very complex, something for example, you need to write a very complex Python script, some very insanely rocket science mathematics. But actually in the real world, data science is not like this, right? Data science is meant to create impact into your organization to solve real business problem. So what kind of impact that data science could give? For example, in the financial institution, in the financial world, the impact can come in various shapes and forms, right? It also can be, for example, the next credit card campaign that you want to launch. Who are the customers that you need to target? What is the campaign mechanics behind it, right? So all of this, right, can be derived through data and analytics itself. So, for example, but at the core fundamental of it, no matter what kind of insights or whatever we derive, data is always being the foundation of everything. So next, we will go in some examples of application of data science in financial institutions. So we start on the top. We have risk data aggregation and reporting. So these are things that the bank usually have to do to fulfill the Bank Negara, where we provided data for central bank. We also use machine learning and modeling for AML, anti-money laundering, and also for compliance. So over here, we built a machine learning model to detect what you call money laundering in place. So we also detect mill accounts, for example. On the right-hand side, we have also we have built models to detect various kinds of fraud. For example, suspicious login in your internet banking or mobile banking, right? That will cover under fraud and also cybersecurity. At the bottom, we have financial trading. We use models, for example, for robo-advisors. Also, we also use data for payments, consumer behavior management, and also wealth management itself for what kind of people that we should target for the certain wealth campaigns. So in terms of data, there are a lot of use of data in the financial institution right now. Next. So we'll talk about some key roles of data science and analytics in RHB. So at the top left, we have data engineers. So data engineers, just imagine data engineers as architects. So they are the one setting up the initial building block of our data warehouse itself. So what is their main role? So besides maintaining the server, besides making sure the performance is there, the accuracy is there, they are the main person setting up the entire database and filling it up with important data. Important data for people like me as a data scientist, that is going to be for us to work our magic on it later on. So at the bottom left, we have data scientists. So data scientists are people like me that uses data to solve business problems. For example, that which now I put on the next next credit card campaign, or it can be people that most likely to take up a product. We could build model around that kind of behavior and let the machine let us know which one will be the most likely possible target. So in terms of the field, data scientists in RHB in my group covers various departments such as retail banking, SME banking, insurance, retail securities, and also functional areas such as fraud and compliance. Recently, we also covered up to the field of HR to study what we call people analytics on human behavior. And the top right corner, we have our campaign management specialists. So these people are the main executor of campaigns. They are the one that most likely be the one communicating to the selecting the channel to communicate to the customers. Also, they also deal with bringing up whatever stuff that we did in the data as a data scientist to the real world. Certain people might be familiar as what they call the ML ops in the data science field. Then finally, we have the bottom part, which is our data science, AI, and innovation experts. So these groups of people are also data scientists, but they are more focusing on the capability building for example, enabling certain Jupyter notebooks or enabling TensorFlow in the data in the environment, so that data scientists like me could utilize it to solve the actual business problem. So that is the four core pillars, right, of what exists in RHB under the data science and analytics field. Okay, so I'll go next. So here comes the more important part, right? So I've split the whole part into a 3 series, right, of building a career in data science and analytics. So we're going to talk about wanting the job. Then after that, we're going to talk about getting the job. And finally, we're going to talk about doing the job itself. So here we go. So wanting the job. So I'm pretty sure majority of you over here are going to graduate soon, or some already just graduated, or even some that are here because they want to take a look at prospect change, right? So these kind of questions that you will usually go through your mind every time that you're looking for a job, right? Right? Is this job for me? Right? Whether can I do it well? Right? I have no clue on programming. So all of these questions are very common, and it usually will pop up every time, especially when you are joining in the working field for the first time. So I'll share a bit of experience, right? I previously mentioned I worked in the factory as an engineer for the past 10 years, right? And then I took a leap of faith to change from manufacturing to financial field as an engineer to a data scientist. A lot of people told me that I'm actually quite crazy to do that because I literally just burn all my experience and knowledge away. But to me, that's not true. As a data scientist, data being data, whether is it coming from, for example, a financial field or a manufacturing field, it's still the same. It's all numbers and characters. You could use this as a benefit instead of a disadvantage, because you will be looking at things at a different perspective. Much comparingly different. Let's say if you compare yourself to a data scientist in the financial field for the past 30 years, he might not discover insights that you could, because you have a different kind of perspective of things, right? And then people also tell me that working in banking will go through a very long hours, right? Things move very slow because it's a very big organization, and also implementing new stuff, which is the core of data science, is very hard. But from my 3 years and almost 4 years experience over here, right, which is actually entirely different because the way of how RHB work under the agile working principle, things move a lot faster, right? And also we are free to we are given the empowerment under agile to voice out ideas and to voice out concerns, right? Whether are you a senior management or you're something for a working level, they will still take based on this working principle. All comments are valued. So to me, things works very fast. So it's very different than what we thought. So going next, what are the skill sets that I feel that a good data science or anyone in the data science field should have, right? One is on the patient side. Because why patience is important? Patience is important because for the hours that you're going to spend finding that missing comma, missing hyphen, all the syntax issue that you're going to face, right? Because learning, I believe that learning a programming language and learning a linguistic language is actually the same. All you need to do is keep on practicing. The more mistake you make, the more faster you will learn. I quote example for Elon Musk, how Elon Musk blow up rockets on a monthly basis, because it's faster for you to learn when you start failing. The same principle you will have, right? If you start learning a programming language, you will need to keep on trying, right? So which brings me to the next part of the skill sets that I feel that you guys should have, which is the curiosity part, the thirst to know more. As a good data scientist, you should have the knowledge and also the thirst to know more about something so that you can derive new insights. Thirdly, openness. Openness comes in a way that you can look at things at a different perspective. Often this one will rely mainly on your characteristics as well. And finally, on the non-technical side, we'll be talking about creativity. Creativity is, I term it as the ability for you to connect the dots, the power for you to translate a business problem to an analytical problem, because through analytical problem, you can solve the problem using data. So that covers the four most important skill sets I feel that for a data science person should have. Next, we move on to the more technical side, statistical knowledge and machine learning. So these are the core fundamental of any machine learning, right? Especially in machine learning itself, the very basic, if you open under the hood, right, is actually all about statistics and probability. Then next we'll talk about Python and R. So Python is one of the more common languages you guys will see if you enter the working world. If you are entering the academic line, you will see R more. So both programming language are very strong, but they serve, to me, they serve a different purposes. Python for more working life, R is more for more academic life. And then finally on SQL. SQL, you will notice it being pulled off everywhere for data extraction. Whether you use SAS or use any kind of other language, SQL will always be a common language that is going to be inside every single kind of programming. So that is some of the key skills that I feel for someone that in data science should have. Next, we'll talk about great. Just now we talked about wanting the job, right? So great, now that you want this career, right? So how do you ace this interview, right? Importantly, you should have a good CV, but I'm not going to talk about CV today because this is not a CV writing session. The next part I want to bring up is a good GitHub. So what is a GitHub? A GitHub is a repository for you to share your machine learning or your programming previous jobs. You can display your previous work on certain use cases, and it's a very good platform to let people see what have you done before. To me, as an interviewer, and also especially when I interview data scientists, right, I always give extra points for people that put up the effort to set up their GitHub to show me what have they done before. Because to be honest, that is the only way I can really, really verify your maturity in terms of when you say you are good at Python, right? And it's not fair for me to judge your Python capability during an open interview, where I give you like 15 minutes to go and try to write a Python script under the pressure that I am interviewing you questions. So I believe that technical assessments, besides doing it, also there's a good place that you should have a a repository like GitHub, right, to display your previous work. Then finally, commitment. Often I believe that very committed people definitely will succeed in life. So show that you are committed to the organization that you're going to be working on, committed that you are going to solve that kind of business problem using data. So to me, that will be the most critical things that you should have in order to pursue this career. Next. So yeah, you aced the interview, right? Then you got the job, right? So this is going to be you at first day of work. Everyone will be a Homer at the first day of work. Maybe some of this coming from a different generation, but you will be looking at like this every time that you change your organization, or when you just join a new company, or maybe after you graduate, this is your first job. You will be getting into this situation every time, right? Believe me. So I remember my first day working in RHB, right? I was Homer in that situation, right? I was like looking like this, like for the first few hours, right? Because everything was moving, everyone was talking. There are people writing machine learning models. There are people in meetings, because everything is going on everywhere, right? So you will have that kind of feeling, which is normal, right? I remember my first day, I was clueless about everything in the bank, like what kind of data exists, how do I do this, how do I do that? But I was excited. Besides clueless, I was also excited and very, very, very curious. Curious about what data exists in the banking world. Curious about what I could do with those kind of data, and what kind of problems I could solve with this kind of data. What kind of problems I could solve with this kind of data. So next we'll talk about doing the job, right? Expectation versus reality, right? Expectation itself, I think everyone will try to imagine yourself, right? After you graduate, you will be spending like 75% of the time building a machine learning model, right? And then maybe 10% or 20% of the time, you just be doing the data extraction and data cleansing. But in the reality, right, it's actually quite different. Majority of your time, right, for data extraction and data cleansing will cover almost 70% of the time. Because as a good data scientist or someone in data science, you should understand that when you build a machine learning model, garbage in, garbage out. So for you to get the best model, you need to ensure that your data extraction is done on point, your data cleansing is done on point, and all your feature engineering is done. The model building part is actually the easy part, right? It would take about 10% of your time just to do it. And then finally, which is the one that I realized a lot of data scientists or other people in data practitioner does not fare well, is to convert it into slides. Because the fact is, you will need to communicate all of this information, right, back to the stakeholders, the business, the CEO, the CFO, and so on. Because no matter what model or how accurate your model can be, if you fail to deliver it to someone into layman terms, right, so that your CEO can understand, your project or your research will go nowhere. So that's what I feel that a lot of people are not are not focusing enough in order to translate their technical skills into something someone layman can understand. So that is the expectation versus reality. I remember during my time after I graduated as an engineer, all of us, I think including my friends, after we graduate as engineer, we all thought that we're going to look like Tony Stark, right? We're going to build the next Iron Man suit. But after working 10 years as an R&D engineer, right, I've never actually touched a physical hardware before. All that I do, all my R&D work, are all based on data. So that is the actual true fact between expectation and reality. The same thing happened again for when I started to do the data science portion, where I thought I'm going to be spending majority of my time writing that complex Python script, but it's not. Majority of your time, you're going to spend cleaning your data, right? Understanding your data. That will be the key between your expectation. What's the expectation versus reality? Next. So yeah, so that concludes almost the 3 series part, right, of talking about whether you want the job, whether you how are you going to do the job, how are you going to ace the interview, and what is the difference between the actual and the reality and expectation, right? So what is in data science in the future, right? As the digitalization getting more and more common, there will be explosive amount of data. Just imagine right now, the cell phone that you hold right now is generating tremendous a lot of data. Even now, even when you check in on something on social media, there is a lot of data being generated. And the demand of the people in data science field will continue to be very, very high because we need people, right? New people and new creative way to discover data and to provide important insights. That's why all of this responsibility definitely will rest on the shoulders of graduates, just like you guys. Because, for example, you might be the next person in this cover, right? In Time magazine, this could be you, right? Data scientist as one of the sexiest job in the 22nd or 21st century. Who knows? This might be you. For example, it also can be you giving this speech, right? In the next 2 to 3 years, you guys will be giving speech or for your organization talking about data science and how it has evolved right now. So I will end this with some interesting quote that someone said, which I forgot, right? To do something you never had, you need to do something you never did. So this is important for people that are thinking about switching fields, right? Take that leap of faith. It might work, it might not work. Who knows? But most important thing is you go and try and try to be yourself. Then I will talk. So thanks for listening. I know it's a very short because I want to leave more time for questions and Q&A because I believe a lot of people have questions on especially what is data science about in the bank. So just a quick promo. There are a few job openings in undergraduate. There are internship programs, and there are RHB graduate programs, and there are also specific analytics graduate program under my purview that we take in fresh grad and also train them to be data scientists. So under that program, candidates will be going through different roles in data analytics. For example, as a data engineer, as a campaign specialist, as a data scientist. We will rotate you around so you get a full understanding of the whole analytic journey. So that is something that you guys can look forward. You can look for Putri or my HR to talk about it. So basically, I think that is the main stuff that I want to talk about. I want to leave more time for Q&A. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, we received a few questions from the audience. So I'll
I
jump.
can't really hear you, sorry.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now much better.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, we've received a few questions from the audience. So the first question was from Wang Kin Yuan. The question was, beside Python, R, or SQL, what are other software or programs should a data scientist learn?
Okay, sorry, let me unshare. So as a data scientist, basic SQL, Python, and R will be your most fundamental. There are more, intricate programming language that you should pick up. For example, I can think of for the time being, I think some other deeper one like JSON, how to extract JSON, Elasticsearch. But pretty much if you ask me, Python, R, and SQL will get you 80% of the way already. You can take more, but as an entry level, I think if you can master this two of it, either Python or SQL, you should be more than better and ready for the job already.
He has another question actually. So what projects should a data scientist show besides FYP?
That's what I said. If you guys do additional tasks, like for example, you join Kaggle competition for certain programming. Kaggle has a lot of competition, right? You can join. FYP is definitely one of the key. Side projects in your GitHub, like I mentioned, in your GitHub will be very, very, very important. Because that's the only way that I can view it, right? That's the really only way.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next question from Norshadatu Shafira. So her question was, as someone who's changing career, she would like to know what would be the first step to do to become a data scientist, because she has a degree in science. So she would like to know if there's any program that you have joined recently. and online certificates and self-learning capable, to make the candidate qualified enough to get hired?
Okay, so starting first, right? Maybe I'll split it up to two sections. One is on the non-technical side. Non-technical side is we're talking about when you change your field, you need to be, for example, very open to be very open, because what I mentioned previously, there will be certain knowledge and experience that you will lose after you build up. For example, when I moved from engineering to data science, right? The core engineering works, right? I will have to forfeit that because it won't be much use over here. Then, in terms of certification, there are a lot of online websites that you can use. Yeah, Udemy. The courses are cheap. It's maybe like 20 to 40 ringgit per course, right? For you to get fully run on. There are a lot of good Udemy courses, Coursera courses that will be most likely enough for you. But mostly, I will keep on stressing again, the ability for you to take up that course. If you could complete it and then create a GitHub and then display your work, that will be the best. I'm quite sure that if you can get all of this done, you definitely will ace that kind of interview, because as far as I know, out of 10 candidates, I think only 2 provides me their GitHub. The rest of it are just boring CV notes, right? Saying that they're good at Python, they can do k-means clustering model, this model, that model, right? But I will not be able to verify any of it through that sheet of CV, right? I would not be able to do so. So having a GitHub, going through the Udemy course or Coursera course, I think that will get you good enough to be ahead of a lot of people.
Everybody take note. So the next question we have from Joshua. So Joshua is asking, how do you train yourself in seeing the data in other point of view in order for you to get the right answer from the data set? Because answers could vary to the questions based on the data we have, but how do you conclude and confirm that your finding is actually the best answers and practices for the business?
Okay, so maybe I'll break down the question to a few parts, right? First part, we are talking about looking things at different perspectives, right? So that one is something that I usually train, or maybe I already ingrained myself. Normally, when I look at one problem, I look at 2 perspectives. The one that requests the problem and the one that is facing that problem. Always look at your issues from 2 perspectives. I agree that things will get conflicted between a user and the one that reports the problem. But do look at it, put yourself on the third person. Usually what I do is, whatever I do or whatever I'm trying to display, I always view it at a third person perspective. What do I see myself when I ask this question? What kind of answers am I going to expect? Then turn it the other way around. If I am the user reporting that kind of problem, right, what is my expectation of this person giving me the answer, right? So always look at, there are definitely 2 sides of a coin. That is confirmed. For everything that happened, there is always 2 sides. If you are fixed on one side, take a pause, go from a different perspective, right? And then view it from there. I know it's very hard for you guys to imagine, right? But just imagine that you're playing a role-playing game, right? You go in with a role. Let's say I'm going in a role as a data scientist. I was given this business problem. After I answer this, I must switch my role as a user itself. Upon receiving this answer from a data scientist, what is my feeling? Right? Look at things from multiple perspectives. Right? And then talking about how do you construct your thought process? So constructing thought process throughout the way, right? There's a lot of ways you can do it. Right now, there's a lot of tools to even help you do your thought process. Some people like to use mind mapping, right? They visualize their thought process using mind map. There are a lot of websites right now that provides free mind mapping tools for you. Or not, you can stick on to the traditional old way, right? Like me, I draw a lot. So that is one way of putting your constructing your thought process. That is one way for me. At least it works for me.
All right, thank you. So next we have a question from Abdul Rahim. He would like to know which one have more demand, data scientist or data analytics?
I would say that both is actually hand in hand. Data scientists cannot function without I thought you were talking data engineering. So data scientists and data analytics. I would say that data scientists definitely have more demand because data scientists, you need to have much more, much more intricate skills. For example, you need to be better in your statistics. You need to have your Python machine learning understanding and everything. So in terms of demand, data scientists definitely had more because there's very little data scientists now in this world. For the time being, I know that a lot of you guys are graduating under data science, but for the past 3 years, I've been hiring. Getting data scientists filled up is one of the very, very difficult challenge.
Oh, wow. Okay, we have another question regarding data scientists. So Fitri is currently transitioning to become a data scientist with a science degree, just like what you did in the past. So his question is, how long did it take you to transition to become a data scientist, and how hard was it for you?
Okay, so let me just talk about the duration, right? The duration took me about 6 months because I come from an engineering background. So the programming was in a different language wasn't that hard because I was programming in C. Moving to Python is a bit difficult, but still bearable, right? That took about 6 months. I will get 6 months is good enough already if you have put in a lot of effort and time to do it. Because like what I mentioned, learning that language, you need to practice. Similar like how I learned my Mandarin. Right? I just learned how to speak Mandarin a couple years back, right? Because I don't speak Mandarin. Then it took a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of effort. It took me 5 years to start speak Mandarin, right? So for me to write in Python script, I think about 6 months to a year of really rigorously practicing. Then how hard is it? I would say it's not say very hard. It doesn't take rocket science or a PhD for you to do it. It just takes a lot of effort, a lot of heart. Right? Like still quote back learning linguistics, right? If you learn a different linguistic language, you just need to be, we all say your skin need to be thick a bit because people will laugh at you, right? For a linguistic. Similar like learning a Python programming or any kind of programming, you will make a lot of mistakes. You'll get frustrated. But the most important thing is don't give up. Eventually you will get that because everyone, I believe, I can guarantee everyone that takes this transition, whether you're taking it for the first time, taking that programming language or changing from C to Python, everyone goes through that process. You will have a lot of errors, right? You will fail a lot, but that's what makes you grow. The faster you fail, the faster you grow and the faster you can transit. I hope I answered your question, Fitri.
Okay, so Farid would like to know what are some of the top qualities that recruiters sought for from potential talent, especially those from non-IT related fields?
I think I covered the top skill sets, right? Like, I think one of the things I never mentioned very clearly, like, is actually for your non-technical skill will be your ability to tell a story through your data. That is very, very important because majority of a data scientist, when you present, you normally present to business, especially in a bank, you present it to a non-technical person. So the art of storytelling is very important, especially with your data. That is very, very important. Besides that, the others, even for me, when I hire, actually I look for I would call it that flame. When you talk to someone, you can see that flame and the desire, whether the person going to be committed or not. To me, that is also an important skill sets to have. Besides the technical one, when the technical one I can't run away, right? Python, SAS, or R, or machine learning and things like that. I think those will be the key common ones.
All right, moving on. What sort of projects that you look in a GitHub project?
I think loading up to GitHub project, it can be anything. You can also take example from Kaggle website, right, on past competition. Like for example, attrition model, segmentation model, propensity model, things like that how to say, if you're gonna write, to me, the simple part is if you're gonna write that in your CV that like for example, k-means clustering or some neural networks, put it up on your GitHub so that people can see what you say is true or not, right? Definitely, I would say that if you ask me what to put in whatever that your CV says. Yep.
Okay, moving on. We have a few more questions left. So Zarina is wondering, what is the most stressful moment working as a data scientist? Would it be cleaning data?
most stressful, I think most stressful normally you will be racing against time, right? How do you call it? Because normally under RHB agile way of working, everything runs in a sprint. One sprint is 2 weeks, means within the 2 weeks you need to deliver something. So to me, the most stressful one will be time, where you need to deliver projects within timeline or deliver key milestones. Of course, failing or failing to model something or failing to get a very accurate model, to me is, if you are doing it as in a data scientist for quite some time, right, you will know it's very common. You will not be able to get 100%, I don't say 100%, 80% or 70% or 90% accuracy every time that you build a model, right? It takes a lot of exploration and understanding of your data. So to be fair, I mean, yeah, stress. I think to me, stress is always an option. It's a good motivator, but it's always an option, because no matter how stressed you are, you still need to deliver that work. So my mantra is, it's an option, right? Stress. Just you either face it or you just move along with it.
Okay, moving on. Let me pick the correct question to ask. Okay, this is probably a good one. A question from Wong Jin Chong. Why is it so hard to find entry-level data scientist jobs? Is it because, most employees don't want to hire fresh graduates for this kind of position?
Not really. I think this problem stems with me maybe 13 years ago when I started to join as engineer, right? Where everyone expected 3 years working experience, right? But you're a fresh grad. So I think it happens to every single field, every single time everyone graduates. But if I'm not wrong, especially in RHB, there are graduate programs under RHB that we encourage fresh grad to take up. We have our general management associate, and also now we have our graduate analytics program. The graduate analytics program that I mentioned are things that most likely focusing on analytics. I think other organizations or other banks also have their own management program. I'm sure that if maybe now no longer have actual career fair, if you go on a normal career fair pre-COVID, you see a lot of organizations hiring management associate. So maybe to Wong, right, if you're looking for an entry-level data scientist, maybe you want to start by entering their management trainee program. I think different organizations call it different way. In RHB, we call it graduate analytics program. You can take a look from there. There is maybe the right keyword is because everyone wants data scientists to come in and then work their magic directly. But we know that there are very scarce level of data scientists, especially as fresh grad. I think the first fresh grad I heard was almost a year ago for data science, especially here. So I hope I answer your question, Mo.
Okay, the next question, we have another one from Wong Kian Yuan. So he would like to know, can data engineers' skill or experience transfer to data science, as their job scopes are quite different?
In terms of transferring, I would say that the core, especially the ETL part, is something that you can transfer. Because data scientists need to extract data, clean data, and transform data. That is something that data scientists must and should do. I know there are organizations that they so-called let this kind of job handled by data engineer, but as a data scientist, I think this fundamental skills is definitely a must-have. So in terms of skills and experience can be transferred, I would say not, and of course not all, but the key ETL portion or the transformation portion, definitely you can transfer that one. Definitely, because even I myself, as a data scientist, I still struggle to get my own data, right? To go and clean my own data, right? So yeah.
Okay. Next question would be from Kuloshini. So she would like to know, as someone from a marketing background, can you still find a marketing-related job in the banking industry?
Banking, I think bank, if I'm not wrong, I think this is a bit not my purview to answer, but yeah, there are marketing departments in the bank. I've been working and still working on a daily basis, right? There are marketing departments in the bank, right? In terms of using data in the data analytics and in the marketing, yes, definitely. There's a lot of models right now is running in order to capture human behavior, like what kind of ads should we given to you. I quote an example. If you open your Spotify and Netflix, right, there is a model running behind to recommend movies to you. Similar go with banking apps, right? And also any kind of website you go in a specific website, they will recommend you certain products to buy. And that is based on your user behavior from your cookies. And also there's a model running it to generate a recommendation engine. So yeah, there is a lot of potential in marketing for data science.
Okay, now we're finally down to the final question from Abdul Rahim. So what advice can you give or would you like to give for aspiring data science graduate that don't have chosen domain knowledge?
If you ask me for my take, if you're considering to join, take that leap of faith. I bet you won't regret it. To me, this is one of the biggest cornerstone or turning point of my life, right? Which I changed. I never regretted it, right? It's after you take that leap, right? What is the biggest advice? Be very curious on how things work, where data are stored, because your job as a data scientist is to derive new insights, and your insights will normally conflict with what the business people or the stakeholders will understand, because to them 1 + 1 is 2. But when you present your data, you need to find a way to explain to them why 1 + 1 is 3. That's where you come in, right? You show them new ways at looking at things, at different perspectives, and you need your expertise and data and data to go and explain and support your proof. But that is something that an advice I would give up. And most finally, don't give up. A lot of people give up in the programming side. I know personally, I've seen a lot of them, right? But to me, perseverance and patience is important. Just don't give up. You will reach there eventually.
Okay, thank you so much, Nick. So before we sum up the session, would you like to give words of advice for our viewers? Does it need to be in data science specifically? Could be general, career related, maybe?
But I pick up a question. Maybe it's, regarding salary range. Putri, do you want to take it up, or is that something that we need to avoid?
Hello, hi. Okay, so in terms, wait, let me just open my video. So in terms of salary, so for fresh graduates, it depends because we have like those who are with like skills, for example, like technical and digital. So but what I can say is the starting is can be 2,600 or up to 3,000. Yeah, for the fresh graduates with no experience. Yeah, but down the line, if let's say you are hired for our IT digital analytics, it can go up to 3,500. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope I covered. So I think words of advice for the final one. I would say stay hungry. Be very hungry of knowledge. As the data science field keep on evolving, right? There is new models being generated, new techniques coming up. So be hungry. Second part, be creative, be curious, right? I realize that there are a lot of data scientists tend to take the safe way out, right? We will try to, for example, not challenge the norm. But to me, as data scientists, we were born to challenge the norm, right? You will need to change, because what I feel, especially you are a data scientist at any kind of organization, your role is to create impact, large impact, right? Through data that maybe the business or the stakeholder doesn't see, or even the CEO doesn't see, right? So through data science, we all can be able to uncover that, whether is it a customer behavior, a new customer behavior, or new segment of customer that the bank or the organization is not concentrating. These are all important. So be creative, be hungry to go and hunger for data. And finally, like I said, don't give up. Take that leap of faith. Right, just go. I bet you it's gonna be an interesting journey.
Okay, thank you so much, Nick, for such a very informative session. So I guess that summarized our session for this evening. And I'm sure everyone watching has learned a lot about data science and data analytics field, including myself. And we hope to have you again in our future webinars, Nick. So to the audience, if you're looking for career opportunities in the banking industry or like our topic, the data science and data analytics field, be sure to visit RHB's virtual booth to connect with their representatives to find out more about the job vacancies available at the bank. And of course, don't forget to vote for RHB as Malaysia's most preferred employers for the Graduan Brand Awards at grand-awards.graduan.com or the RHB's virtual booth. So thank you everyone again for your time, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks.